Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Supernatural, episode 1214, titled The Raid, which premiered Thursday, March 2nd, 2017 on the CW. So guys, quick reminder, if you haven't seen the episode already, go check out that first, and then come back to see what I have to say about the episode. Huge spoiler alert warning, I'm telling you right now. Otherwise, other reminders about my videos are on screen. And with that all said, let's start the 10-minute clock and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, we immediately pick up after 12:13 with Mary trying to talk to Sam and Dean about why she has aligned herself with the Livejournal letters. And then we skipped to 3 days later with the whole Sam and Dean freezing her out and seeing what happens when she needs their help. Episode reminder, though, goes to the fact that we see the return of the alpha vampire. He was last seen in episode 722, 5 years ago. So I'm surprised it's been that long. But anyways, episode breakdown, let's get right into it. You really only have the two storylines, but they do merge together, or they are related together at some point. The main one being that Mary tries to convince the brothers to give the Livejournal a chance, but instead she ends up showing Sam just how the Livejournal works. Unfortunately, that is during a time where the vampires ambush and when the alpha vampire himself makes an appearance. But thankfully for the people inside that bunker, the alpha vampire is killed by Sam with the cult. And after all is said and done, Sam agrees to be recruited by the Livejournal letters. So Mick is stunned by the news, yet pleased, since that is what his boss wants. Second storyline, though, is dealing with Dean, and that is Mr. Ketch trying to recruit Dean, trying to appeal to Dean's action-based personality, where he's more of a doer than the more of a go out and do type of person. He comments on the fact that they have to always keep moving before something gets in their way in a bad way. So if that makes sense. So he tries to take Dean to the vampire nest, only for them to realize that the vampire nest went back to the temporary base that the Livejournal letters were holding up. So they kind of missed out on the action there. But moving to tidbits for the episode, we see we find out that Mick and Mr. Ketch, both of their bosses, want Sam and Dean to be recruited, because that means recruiting Sam and Dean will mean that more American hunters will follow behind them. Sam and Dean are kind of viewed as the American hunter royalty, I guess you could say, from the way they're describing it, which I thought that was cool. But based on the end tally for the episode, the death tally is where you get Sam killing the alpha vampire with the Colt, last used by a Winchester in 510, I believe, when Dean tried to use it against Lucifer. And then you also see Mary and Sam killing some vampires that happen to get into the compound. So there's that. Moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I think it has to be the fact that Sam agreed to be a part of the Livejournal letters in the same capacity that Mary is currently working with them. I was a little surprised by that, because at the very beginning of the episode, you see that Sam just doesn't understand why Mary would align herself with these people who tortured him, who pretty much caused him so much pain and such like that. But then I guess all it really took was for him to see what good the organization could do, and he wants to be a part of that since he sees them making a difference. So there is that. But moving on to top 3 favorite moments. One of the favorite things I had was the fact that we got to see a lot of archive footage from all the past vampire cases that we've seen in the last 12 years. So I thought that was pretty cool how we get all these different montages at different moments in the episode, where you would see old footage of when we first saw the alpha vampire back in season 6, or where we first dealt with vampires in season 1 and dealt with another nest in season 2 and then again in season 3. It was just, and then when Dean got turned into a vampire in season 6 again, it was very interesting to have those little flashback moments for us as a viewer, because it's been so long since we've actually seen them for the first time. So I really like stuff like that. It was very creative how they managed to put that together. Plus, at the moment when it was showing us these old cases that we've seen Sam and Dean do, we've seen how they take on vampire cases, and then the voiceover going over top of that is the British men of letters explaining how they take care of vampire cases, and they go for recon, they go scheduling plans, they go through time-sensitive like itineraries to figure out the basic move of a vampire nest down to the very core, treating them like terrorists as opposed to rogue killers that the hunters usually treat them as. So it was very, the flashbacks help show the very two different hunting styles that were brought together in this case. Another favorite moment of mine for the episode was the flashback theme of it. Not to go with the archive footage that I just mentioned, but a lot of the times in the episode, we would flash back to like minutes beforehand to show how a sleight of hand moment worked. So like with Mary, we saw a flashback to 3 days previously when she was thinking over the argument she had with Sam and Dean. And then you had a brief flashback moment of the alpha vampire just realizing his mistake of how what he thought was a disagreement and a fight breaking out was their way of sneaking a bullet to Sam so he can put it in the Colt and use it against him, which we never would have seen that first time around that it happened. Or the little flashback of Mary remembering getting knocked out in the armory and then coming to with Sam finding her. So little flashback moments like that were very fun to see. Moments like that kind of reminded me of moments in movies like Ocean's 11, where you see the whole thing play out, but then you get the flashback to find out how it really was done or how they were able to fool you the first time it showed you. So it was great to see that type of theme going on. Another favorite of mine was that we got to see Sam taking charge when inside the temporary base for the British men of letters. It was really interesting to see not only Sam, who isn't part of the group, take charge, but he brought a lot more to the table than what they were offering him. The only thing that they really offered him was the fact that they had access to so many different things, ingredients, weapons. The British men of letters supplied to Sam the arsenal that he was lacking. Yet it was Sam who was giving them the knowledge they needed in order to take down the enemy. So, like, for example, Sam knew the ingredients needed to recreate the bullets for the Colt, brought to you by Bobby Singer. We also see Sam giving the intel the fact that the alpha vampire isn't in Morocco like the British men of letters believed him to be for the last 10 years. He was actually in the United States only 5 years ago, where he actually came face to face with him and actually fought against him. So little stuff like that, and then also taking charge of telling them, you do this, well, we do this, take care of this, and then trying to make a deal with the alpha vampire, and yet fooling him when he got the upper hand and managed to get the Colt ready before he even realized that it actually was going down. So it really makes you wonder that if Sam was in charge of such an organization like that, just how much they could get done. And I think Sam is the perfect blend of meta letters, which are supposed to be the scholars of the supernatural world, as Henry called it, and then hunters are supposed to be the frontmen, the soldiers, the ones who do the dirty work after getting the intel. And Sam does both. He can do both really well. And once he has access to the manpower or the arsenal that he needs, he could really be unstoppable. So I'm excited that we actually got a little sneak peek of what Sam in that type of situation, with that amount of access to so many helpful things, he could put to good use. So there's that. Also, like I mentioned just now, another favorite moment of mine was Sam going against the alpha vampire, bringing up a little bit of history between the two of them, how Sam was able to not only interact with alpha vampire as he did, but also distract him in a way. Because I think if it was just the British men of letters, like we saw earlier with the girl, I think Serena, she just went in and attacked. She didn't really have a game plan or anything like that. she didn't know what she was going up against. So with Sam, though, even though talking with the enemy kind of, it doesn't really make sense, but it worked because he needed a stall to get into the position he needed to get, and it worked for Sam. He knew what needed to be done, and he knew how he could have it achieved. So there's that. Moving on to top 3 peeve moments, and there is the timer for the episode. But moving on to top 3s, one peeve of mine was that Dean missed out on the action. He wasn't there for the whole vampire fight. I would have loved it if Mick was able to see Sam and Dean in action instead of just Sam in this situation. Although Sam was given the spotlight in that case, but it was a little sad that Dean didn't get to take part in the vampire ambush. So there's that. Another peeve that I had, though, was the fact that Sam ultimately decided to work with the British Men of Letters after this whole raid thing failed. And while I'm glad he picked a side, which is what Dean wanted him to do, but now it looks like he picked a side that Dean is against. So that's going to cause tension, and I'm not really looking forward to that, though. And I also don't trust the British Men of Letters because of the fact that they tortured Sam. And they tortured him before even just going for the niceties first. They judged first before they got to know them. They went with the brute force instead of just asking nicely. Maybe could have gone a long way. But I'm not looking forward to both Sam and Dean being on opposite sides of the issue. Now, I was fine when it was Mary versus Sam and Dean, but if it's Sam and Dean versus each other on this issue, I'm not looking forward to it whatsoever. But moving on, though, what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? The fact that not only did we get the return of the alpha vampire, we got to see the end of him. And we also got confirmation of the fact that even if you killed the alpha, you don't kill the other vampires. It's not like with the originals where you kill an original and their whole storyline dies. That's not the case for this one. So there's that. Moving on to random questions, though. First one is that if the British Men of Letters didn't know how to recreate the bullets for the cult, then is it possible that they have no idea about there being a cure for vampirism out there? A cure brought to you by Samuel Campbell, which makes you wonder if Mary even knows about the cure at all. So there is that. Second question, how is Dean going to react when he finds out that Sam is now working with the British Men of Letters like Mary is doing? I mean, yes, we saw Dean kind of make amends with Mary over the fact that he has to find a way to get used to Mary making her own decisions, kind of like a parent to a child, although it's reverse here, but he doesn't have to like it. But with Sam, though, they've been through everything together. They've been through the thick and thin, and I don't know how he's going to take to Sam working with the British Men of Letters. So there's that. But moving on to predictions very quickly, based off the promo for 12:15, it looks like Sam and Dean deal with a hellhound hunt. It looks like Crowley comments on it being the hellhound, I guess the head honcho of a hellhound, if you will. We see the return of Dean's glasses, first seen in 8:14, that allows him to see hellhounds. We see those again, and we see Sam wearing them too. We see Lucifer, played by Mark Pellegrino again, teasing Crowley, and it looks like Castiel is also shown. Based off the synopsis, though, for 12:15, it looks like an attack by an invisible hellhound at a campsite leads Sam and Dean to investigate the mysterious circumstances. Meanwhile, two of Crowley's own personal demons uncover what he has been hiding, and Castiel gets a lead on Kelly Klein. So there is that. Don't know why they put an invisible hellhound, since hellhounds are already invisible to begin with. So there's that. Based off of all that, though, new questions that I have is that new predictions off that would be that I don't think that Dean is going to fully trust the British Men of Letters, whether he agrees to be recruited by them or not. I think he's always going to have a suspicious inclination with them, even if he agrees to work with them. I think it's kind of going to be similar with Dean was always suspicious when he was brought in to work with the Campbell family back in season 6, especially with Samuel Campbell and all that. So it's definitely going to put a toll between Dean and the other members of his family. So there's that. I also think that the Winchesters will be betrayed by the British Men of Letters. I really think it's going to be after they have met who the real bosses of the whole organization. But I don't think the alliance is going to end well between the Winchesters and the British Middlelanders. And it's definitely going to be about picking sides, or there's going to be a power struggle of who does things better and such, like that. What else? Can't really think about anything else, though. So that's about it, guys. What did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, opinions about all that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. So go check it out there and follow me there if you like. It's also connected to my WordPress account. It's a little more organized over there, but it's still a work in progress. But everything I post online is connected to each other, mostly through there. So go check that out if you want. If you want a detailed recap of the episode, a play-by-play, if you will, about the episode as I watch it for the first time with my in-moments thoughts and questions and all that, check out my Livejournal entry link. That is down below for this episode specifically. My memory's kind of shoddy, so the link or the page entry actually helps me recount certain things that I may have missed or I didn't deem as important later on as I did when I was actually in the moment watching it. So go check that out. I've been doing them since season 6. Check them out. Follow me on there if you like as well. But that's about it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. I hope you come back next week to hear what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now.